Hello my friends, and welcome back to another video where today we will be looking at 5 interesting and potential events we could see in the upcoming Amazon Lord of the Rings TV series. The purpose of today's video is to look at some smaller but yet intriguing events in the Second Age that we just can't wait to see on screen. We're going to be covering the entirety of the Second Age of Tolkien's works, by presuming we will see the whole age in the show. But without further ado, let's get right into it. In at number 5, we have the fated choice of Elrond and Elros. Technically, this event is not in the Second Age, but what we can tell from the most recent image released by Amazon, which shows presumably Tirion and the two trees, which will be in the first episode confirmed, this means that we could either be seeing prologues and flashbacks of important events and character moments in the first 2 episodes. And as far as character moments go, the decision Elrond and his twin Elros had to make at the end of the first stage was massive. So Elrond was half elven, and therefore the Valar gave him and his twin Elros a choice similar to that of Arwen's in The Lord of the Rings, where they had to choose to become a mortal, aka a man, and future Númenórean, or one of the firstborn, so an elf. Elros chose to be immortal and became the founder and first king of the island kingdom of Númenor, whereas Elrond chose the opposite and stayed an elf and would reside in Lindon going into the Second Age. This event establishes 2 things. Firstly, the character moment for Elrond and the impact of making this life-changing choice of being one of the firstborn, whereas your twin, who you have been with since birth, has chosen a mortal life and has the doom of death likewise. So here is the beginning of a good foundation for Amazon to give context to the character of Elrond if they are going to show flashbacks or have a prologue. The second thing it does is also give context to the formation of the island kingdom of Númenor, whether later on in the show we see the mid-Second Age and Númenor in its glory, or late Númenor under Sauron's influence, as either way the island kingdom through current marketing and leaks is clearly going to be massive in the show. In at number 4, we have the creation of the Dwarves of Durin. The dwarven kingdom of Khazad-dûm will most likely be center stage for the dwarves in the Amazon show, and the specific event where Narvi the dwarf and Celebrimbor the lord of Eregion and excellent craftsman created and built the doors of Durin, while also establishing the relationship between the dwarves and elves through this cooperation between the 2 craftsmen, as the elves of Eregion, and especially in Osth-Inadhil, the capital, had a great relationship with the dwarves of Moria, and showing this cooperative creation may establish this even more, as the doors were kept open after construction and allowed for trade between Osth-Inadhil and Khazad-dûm. However, the doors were shut after the beginning of the War of the Elves and Sauron in 1697 of the Second Age, where the doors were sealed, which could potentially in the future show the impact of Sauron and this War of the Elves and Sauron, and how severe it is with the dwarves having to close and seal their doors. Now in at number 3, we have the capture of Sauron. Let's cast ourselves all the way to 3262 of the Second Age, where our Pharazôn, the current king of Númenor, sends a fleet to Middle-earth to conquer Sauron, who had once again arisen in the east and had started attacking Númenorian coastal cities and port towns, and subsequently was called and claimed as being, quote, King of Kings and, quote, Lord of the Earth, and many more titles, which which angered the Númenóreans, who were proudful and prideful, and in return once again destroyed Sauron and his small uprising. But the crucial moment in this event is Sauron letting himself be taken as a hostage back to Númenor after realizing that he would not be able to defeat the Númenóreans with military strength. So this was actually a blessing in disguise for Sauron, who would soon, now in Númenor, be able to corrupt the Island Kingdom. Some might see this crucial moment and overall event as the direct beginning of the end for the Númenóreans, as it allowed Sauron to be exactly where he needed to be in order to finally take them down after militarily failing, as for example during the War of the Elves and Sauron, where the Númenóreans routed his forces. Next, in at number 2, we have the Escape of the Faithful. The overall climactic event of the downfall of Númenor will be one of the biggest catastrophic moments we will see in the Amazon show or even on television in general. But the immediate aftermath of the 9 ships of the Faithful sailing away with Elendil at the head will be a memorable moment for sure, and the entire context around the event with Elendil's father Amandul travelling west to beg the Valar for mercy. There are many layers attached to this practically season finale moment as well, as it represents a shining light amidst the surrounded darkness of the downfall of Númenor, and shows that there is still some hope for the race of men, and this echoes to the formation of Arnor and Gondor. In at number 1, we have the Númenórean fleet arriving at Gwathlo. As mentioned in number 2, with the downfall of Númenor being the overarching event, here it is the War of the Elves and Sauron. The specific moment of the Númenórean fleet arriving after the call for aid by the High King Gil-galad from Lindon will undoubtedly be one of the most emotional moments that will fill the viewer with goosebumps. Eregion had fallen and burnt to the ground, their lord Celebrimbor killed and displayed on a waving banner, the Lindon front with the help of some Númenóreans barely holding their line against Sauron's forces. But then the Númenórean fleet sent by Tar-Minastir and headed by Kiriata went up the river Gwathlo and attacked Sauron from the rear, practically decimated Sauron's forces, and forced Sauron to retreat back to Mordor to recover from this heavy loss the Númenóreans had dealt him. There are some parallels to how it was like with the Ride of the Rohirrim, with when it seemed like Sauron was going to break through the Lindon lines and finally cement control, until the Númenóreans finally came and completely changed the tide of the war. So in today's video, we have covered 5 interesting and more niche events we could see in the upcoming Amazon Lord of the Rings TV series, and the idea was not to go for the overarching events as I mentioned earlier in one of my previous points, for example the downfall of Númenor and the War of the Elves and Sauron, as even though these will be massive maybe even whole season events that we could see in the show, it's the more specific scenes and the specific moments which I think will really captivate the viewer and for us as well to see. For example, that if for example the Elrond scene and having to choose whether to be a mortal or a firstborn, and that event with his brother as well, and having that as potentially a prologue scene or a backstory moment could really be quite compelling scene and event, which is why it is in the list. But of course, please let me know if I have missed any out, because the Second Age is over 3,300 years. I'm sure there's bound to be more than 5 specific events we could see on screen in the show. And also let me know them in the comments below as well. Look through all of them, and also tell me which one did you enjoy the most, or you most excited to see out of the 5 I've displayed in today's video. So that was the Elrond and his brother making that choice of their fated choice, and also we have the escape of the faithful, we have the Númenórean fleet returning, we have the creation of the Doors of Durin, and we have Sauron getting captured. But thank you guys for watching, I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. Bye until the next video, my friends. Goodbye.